Icon's Corner, and we're so excited to be here. I'm joined by a true gentleman. He belongs to the gentleman's game, cricket. I've got Pierre de Bruyn, who's recently been appointed Namibia's national team head coach, as well as the director for high performance cricket here in Namibia. We're so excited, and good evening, Pierre, and welcome to Icon's Corner.
Thank you. It's great to be here, and I'm looking forward to a nice discussion.
Yeah, Pierre, you've played a lot of cricket, obviously. I did a little bit of stalking, if I can call it that.
Yeah, look, I think I was brought up in Pretoria, where my dream was to play for Northern Transvaal those years. And as a young kid, under 13, when I made the Northern's under 13 team, was probably one of the most amazing moments in my life. Under 15, under 17, under 18, going to the Nuffield Week 3 times. For me, it was always about playing for the Titans. I went to the Dolphins to finish my career there in Durban, which was great. 16 years of professional cricket for me was an honour. And I always say to young players is that it doesn't fall out the sky. There's a lot of hard work that you need to put in.
There's that. What were you more of, a batsman or a bowler?
Look, I was honestly, and I'll be truly honest, is that I enjoyed both.
Yeah.
With the ball, I just always wanted to be involved in the battle, if you know what I mean. So with the bat, I wanted to be out there winning a game for the team, and then when we were fielding, I was really happy to say, just give me that ball, because I wanted to be in the battle. But towards the end of my career, you won't believe me, I also kept wicket for the Dolphins.
Oh, really?
I did all three.
It was the golden generation of the Titans. How was that, being involved in the same changing room as A.B. de Villiers, Faf du Plessis, and all those characters, the Mokol brothers? How was that for you?
It was great, because I was a senior in the change room, and to have seen these youngsters coming through and establish themselves as professional cricketers, and I played a part in their cricket within the change room as a senior player, was just incredible. But it wasn't just about the trophies, because I believe it was about the culture that we had in that change room. It was team first, it was all of us. It wasn't a A.B. de Villiers show, because he hardly played for South Africa then. He just came on the scene. Faf du Plessis, Dale Steyn was bowling at 145 k's an hour. Morne Morkel the same. So it was a generation that just came through, but it was our culture that nurtured these guys. And I believe that if you sit with AB and Faf and those guys right now, they will always refer back to when they started and when they started playing for the Titans and what that change room was about, because that change room was about team first and a very strong culture.
We all know the secret. Not all players become great coaches, and vice versa, but you seem to have slowly made that transition very well. How did that decision come about?
Well, look, I think it's a gut feel. I think in sport and in life, it doesn't matter what you do, it's value based. The game will always keep you honest. Just when you think that you've got it waxed and you at the top, it brings you back down very quickly. And I really respected that, because one day you're the hero, and the next day you're the zero. Very important in your coaching career. One thing I've learned, and a very good coach in Eric Simons told me and said that when you coach, it's not about you. You can still bring in your own stamp on things. You can still bring in your own.
Have things maybe go on your own way. And when did that coaching career start to say, okay, this is when, of course, you probably coached at a little primary school here and there, but when you say you kick-started and you hit the springboard, when was that, and how was that like for you?
Look, I was always interested in coaching. I always loved coaching. For me, coaching is about changing someone's life, and changing his perspective. And my coaching started really when I played 10 years of cricket in England as well, and I took the reins as a player, overseas pro, as well as a coach at every club that I played. And I said, we're going to work, we're going to coach, and that's how it all started. And then when I played for the Dolphins, I was used to work with a semi-professional team, the team just under the franchise team. So that's where my coaching really started. And when my opportunity came in 2010, I was approached by the University of Pretoria to take over director of cricket and head coach role, and I was still playing. It was a tough decision, but it was the best decision I've ever made.
what would you say has been your best coaching stint? If you to pick one, what would it be?
It's an interesting one again because, you know, for 6 years at the University of Pretoria at Tuks was incredible.
Yeah.
From a personal point of view, I had the opportunity to create a foundation for myself as a
Yeah.
coach because I was in a system which was high performance driven. And for me, just not learning about throwing cricket balls around and coaching players, the administration, the management, that I was very fortunate to be educated by Tuks Sport for 6 years, winning 2 World Championship World Cups as South Africans in 2014 in England and 2015 in India was possibly the best experience I've ever had as a young coach because I've seen the Lungi and Gidis, the Aiden Markrams, the Pierre de Bruyns and the Heinrich Claessens. Coaching is about changing someone's life and I really enjoyed that. So it was, for me, the first 6 years was all about my own foundation and learning the trade because it's not an easy trade.
It's not an easy trade. So you talk about the Lungi and Gidis. You probably were involved in some talent identification of some sort and pushing them through. How is that process? Picking a young player and try and get him to believe that they probably have a little bit of what it takes to become a national treasure at some point in their life. That should not be easy.
Yeah. Look, it is absolutely right. It's about sitting in front of a player. He doesn't know who you are. You know, it's about trust, and that player trusting you. In 2016, I was hunting Lungi and Gidi down in Durban 2 years in a row. The first time he said to me, "No, thank you. I'm interested in playing my rugby and my cricket." I didn't give up. The next year I went back and I said, "Lungi, you've got to trust me. You've got the ability to play for South Africa very soon,
and let's
get this process going."
Okay.
And it's about trust. And Lungs and I, we get along very well still. I'm his mentor still. You know, we've got a very close bond, and developing these players and what I would like to achieve in Namibia as well for me is something that really ticks me.
You talk about Namibia and you had to make a decision. How did that process come about? You deciding to come to the land of the brave. We're a very small country here and very few people would easily make a decision to move to us because a lot of people actually, if you ask them, "I'm from Namibia," say, "Really? Where's Namibia?" But you, because you're in South Africa, you probably knew we existed already. How did that decision come about? And you've entered a new role, you're director of high performance and you're head coach. How did that come about, you deciding?
Look, it was for me, you know, after my England stint with Leicestershire, you know, we as a family returned back to South Africa, which was a good time for us to return, and I gave myself some time to just to mentally get myself ready again, and I believe that this opportunity came at the right time for me, and I'm looking forward to it.
So how long, if you're willing to share, how long have you put yourself in Namibia to try and make an impact?
Look, it's ultimately it's a 3-year contract, and you know, I know that there's a hell of a lot of work ahead of me, but it's one step at a time. You know, we've got an amazing opportunity in April, which is a ICC League 2 qualifier, which we have to make sure that we stay in Division 2. And it will open doors for young players in this country to have ODI status, to have 36 ODIs over the next 2.5 years panned out around the world.
That'll be brilliant.
The opportunities ahead. So we've got 4 months ahead of us.
And you have 2 roles to wear. And I also know you're a little bit involved with some cricket commentary somewhere as well. How are you going to manage and get your high performance side going and get the team to meet those goals and targets that they have? Are you going to shed some weight off? How's that going to work?
Okay, you've got to. It's all about planning. You've got to be very aware of your planning, competitions, the players that are here. There are players overseas playing in New Zealand, in South Africa. You know, so the dynamics of my own personal things, balancing everything around, is very important. Ultimately, my job here is to fast track the development of our national team and individuals, as well as looking at our pathway to identify young players that will be our future.
So you're going to stay and doing a little bit of commentary as well in the process?
Yes, the commentary for me is a sideline hobby.
Okay.
I see it as a hobby. You know, I've been involved with Supersport for the last 7 years as an Afrikaans commentator. It's something that refreshes me, especially my cricket brain, working alongside some legends in the commentary box. So
that's going to stay in and around.
Yes.
And high performance has a lot of technicalities involved. What plans do we have in place to really get a backbone at grassroots level going up? Because we can get our national team to get ODI status in 2 years, but if there isn't anybody coming up from there, it's as good as we haven't done anything, because those guys are going to grow out of it, and then we're going to still have a gap and a crisis. How strong are the plans we have currently, or some of the programs you've probably seen in action, and what do you think you're going to have to do really well to make sure that there's a successive plan?
Yes, it's a very good question, and it's something that I've putting a lot of attention on now. It's something that I'm planning at the moment, but for me, ultimately it comes down to our coaches in the system. And if we want our players to develop at the right pace, because don't forget, we're in 2018, this game is going at a rapid pace in terms of T20 cricket, the shots that's been played, the Yorkers, and you can't fall behind. So our coaches are the heartbeat of this organization, the quality of our coaches. So coaches' education for me is priority number one.
Yeah.
Our players will be as good as our players, and we need to make sure that we get our players coached the right way and coached at the right pace.
Okay.
So for me, coaches' education is a huge priority on my
That's
side.
definitely part of your plan. Yeah, because there's always a talk about the idea that sometimes we fast track players, and I was involved a little bit of cricket commentary with TV2 Namibia. There was a schools cricket festival, the APS. It was a tournament, and there was this really talented young man who was playing Nicole Lofty-Eaton, and I had a worry, and I asked a question with regards to my other coaching commentary panel, and I said to him, what's the best plan to keep this young man as well skilled as he is without fast tracking him into the big boys game and hampering his long-term growth? Or you also don't want to keep him with the others people who he's well ahead of and he's scoring hundreds all day and he's not improving. And that's a big challenge our coaches have, and because we've got a big gap from schools until we get to national team cricket, and I think that's something you're probably looking forward to.
Well, exactly. I mean, we've got to get the right people in the right place to look after.
Yeah.
There's a very promising a young under 15 player which we need to look after. We can't have players stopping after under 19 cricket saying I'm going to throw the towel in because it seems like it's too hard to get into that national setup. I'm opening the floodgates. I want everyone to know that they are part of the bigger picture, that they are part of this country and this team.
Yeah.
And if I have the buy-in from young players saying, I want to play for that national team, it's not a closed door scenario, then we will have a bigger pool of players
To pick from.
Yes, to pick from. And at the moment, we don't. So one of my strategies is to say, guys, I want everyone to feel that they're involved with Cricket Namibia. Our under 15 teams got to dominate the CSA competitions in December. Our under 19s are going to Coke Week, right? You know, on Sunday. It's a big week for them. It's a big week for our boys to play against some good sides.
Some good sides. What do you think you want to do with regards to from under 14, 15, 17? They only play cricket when they go to South Africa in terms of competitive cricket. What do we need to do to get them to play day in, day out active cricket? I don't know if you've coached in England and you probably have some relationships there. How does that work with you to try and link us up to get more games going?
Look, I mean, you're right. We need to. Game time is one thing.
Yeah.
Coaching time is another
It's
thing.
another team, yeah.
And combining those two with a good balance is something that I need to go work out.
Okay.
You know, the dynamics in Cricket Namibia is also unique. You've got Coastal, Walvis Bay.
Yeah.
You've got Windhoek. You know, it's not easy for guys to travel the whole time. So the dynamics, there are challenges, but we need to find a way.
We need to find a way.
To accommodate these guys and to play against the right competition.
Are you going to have a discussion with Cricket Namibia on how that goes and how best, maybe with some insight from your experience, to try and help them?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, funding rules the world, and we can't shy away from that. You know, we can upgrade the most amazing facilities within Cricket Namibia if we had funds. But how do we get funds? We get funded by the ICC, and you get funded in which league you're playing in. And my job is to make sure that we qualify in April, because the funding will look different if we do not qualify.
What's your main philosophy in coaching? What do those players need to look out for? They're going to be waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning going for a jog up the mountain.
No, look.
I don't trust that smile.
That's proper old school. You'll probably break the buggers, but I think my philosophy is that you know, there's certain non-negotiables when it comes to this game and when it comes to life, and is that your attitude is number one.
Yeah.
You're in control of that, and they need to be obsessed with success, with winning, and I need to create a culture for that.
Yeah, and it's something that's very interesting in terms of it's a new era for the players, because they're gonna have to get used to you as a coach, and you're gonna have to get used to them, and also as Namibia, you're gonna have to used to the environment, and 3 years goes by very quickly, you know. And how they talk about mass production. You're gonna have to do a lot of that in terms of you to get through. And do you get to pick your backroom stuff, or do you get to choose who you come with? Are you coming with a team?
Yes, I am. I can't say too much right now, but yes, I want to create a support team which is knowledgeable enough to develop these players, but also to inspire our players.
And they talk about some nations. You mentioned Hong Kong, you mentioned the USA. They're not only countries that are making strides only in cricket. The USA is doing very well in sevens rugby and going up. Just to try and get an understanding, it's probably because these countries are implementing a lot of the high-tech facilities that we are seeing coming in around the world. And how is that affecting your role? Cricket is very technical. You need to film the sessions, sit and watch where you can improve a player's technique. And sometimes us on this side of the world don't really have the best in terms of that. You're going to have to navigate through that. And is it something that you see as a crucial aspect of your work?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an open-minded coach, and I believe in the new technology. I believe in all of that. I think it plays a part. But you know, if you look at Afghanistan, they're going to play Test cricket soon. You know, they have climbed the ladder from nowhere to where they are now.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure that they don't have the state-of-the-art technology that they've used. What they've created was an absolute passion to play the game. And for me, Oman started from nowhere playing, and I've been there, playing cricket in the desert, not on grass wickets. And look where they are now, climbing the ladder.
Are you going to implement that whole idea that we need to stop playing two sports at high school, pick one very early and focus on it, or juggle both if you can, and then if you get to a point where at 16 or 17 you're a Lungingidi and you need to change and you need to pick a struggle, you pick one, or an AB de Villiers had to do the same, Herschel Gibbs had to do the same?
No, I will not. Personally, I don't think it's right to make a decision for a player. I think, using Lungi as an example, the way it panned out naturally came to him, is that this is going to be my journey now. You know, I've got to give one up. And without anyone telling him what to do, his gut feel, his own feel about making this decision came naturally. So for any young player out there in Windhoek and in Namibia, if you want to pursue two sports, go ahead, give it a full go. But there will be a time when you lie in bed where you will realize this is going to be my journey.
How do you find the whole atmosphere in Cricket Namibia? You're going to be heavily involved with Peter Forster, Mr. Haynes as well. And how have you found the dynamics in there, the love those guys have for the game, and how are you looking forward to that?
I must say that one thing that I'm very, very happy about is, from the CEO to the board, how determined they are to take Cricket Namibia into the right direction. But I'm very, very content with the mindsets from the president, Rudy, the CEO, Peter, and the whole board. There's so much cricket knowledge around us here in this small little city,
Yeah.
which I want to tap into. I think the passion is there, the history is there about Cricket Namibia,
Yeah.
and we need to respect that as well. So I'm very, very pleased to know and to feel that support from the board and the CEO.
Where do you think we need to focus on? Where do you think we need to
This-
create
this
a
game-
culture around?
This game comes down to stats. We can't avoid the stats. Individual stats, team performances, individual performances. We can't avoid them. If I go through our national players' stats right now, and I look at their first class performances, their one-day performance, the T20 performances, I am gobsmacked to see the lack of hundreds that our batters are scoring. So my question is, how ruthless are you?
If you're going to mention two things that are going to need to start, and they're going to need to start now, what are they and why?
It's culture.
Okay.
Can't go without culture. Culture is going to be our foundation. Culture is going to make every player accountable. At the moment, I don't think players take responsibility for their performances,
Yeah.
and there's no accountability. So for me, the culture is crucial.
Okay.
It's crucial for us to build that culture and understand what it involves. It's going to be playing for that eagle, and it's going to be hard. No one comes here, or no one is going to push us around anymore.
Okay.
And then the second thing for me is that mindset of belief, but not just the national team, everyone, because it's going to be a very important qualifier.
It's a very important journey. And there's something that recently got added to our cricket, which is basically us, TV2 Namibia, in terms of getting a broadcast and getting third umpire. There's something that Namibia didn't really have an opportunity to have. And where do you think that fits into the whole process in trying to improve our cricket, having footage to look at and having evidence of what transpired?
I think, honestly, to all of the production behind the scenes here, I think it's fantastic. To get our game out there for not expecting people to come to the ground. I think it's great.
Yeah, Pierre, it's unfortunate that we always have to come to an end of good things, and I'm also itching to get into this platter and make sure that I do justice to it. But if you're going to mention, and if you're going to say something in closing in terms of our cricket and where it is, where it needs to be, and besides the culture and the mindset you mentioned about how we're going to do it in 10, 15 seconds, what it is, and go for it.
Look, we've had such a good discussion around the structures and everything.
Yeah.
I think it's such a wonderful environment. Driving through Windhoek today, and looking at under 19s and national players playing today, I think there's a great opportunity to turn things around in this country and to really come back with a force. I believe 100% that we've got the players to do that.
Yeah.
But we know that we've got areas that we need to work on.
Yeah.
But I do believe that we have got everything here to stamp our authority and to move forward.
All right, that's wise words you mentioned there. That there's a lot of buzzing, there's a lot of pumping, but it's time we turn that noise into music and get it into become a well-composed album that the whole world can listen to in terms of our game of cricket. It's an absolute pleasure having to chat with you. I think it's one of the most calm and collected shows we've had, where we're talking about all things cricket and really going in depth about what our cricket needs and what our cricket has to do. And it's been an absolute pleasure having to sit here and chat. This is my first interview with a professional cricketer, so I'm honored. I must say it's the first time for everything, and thank you very much for availing your time. And we're absolutely grateful for what you've done for cricket so far and what you're going to do for Cricket Namibia going forward, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
There you have it, folks. We were chatting to Pierre from the Namibia Cricket. He's the Cricket Namibia national team, recently appointed coach and director of